Welcome to 15 News at 10. I'm Elizabeth Wattis. An emotional day at Monona's Winnequah Park as organizers put on the first Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Day. WMTV's Shayna Najawan went to the gathering. Shayna, various events held throughout the day, all of them really meant to honor the babies who are no longer with us.
That's right. Families walked with empty strollers to symbolize the void left behind when a baby dies. They've also planted trees in honor of the Black and Brown families who are 3 to 5 more times likely to lose a baby. Attendees who have all experienced the unthinkable finding comfort in one another.
We met later in life, and right from the start it was difficult to conceive.
An older couple, Amy Kneifel and her husband, were thrilled to receive an embryo from a donor while they were trying to have a baby.
At that point, everything was going really well until it wasn't.
But after just 4 months, received devastating news.
When we get there, I started bleeding and there was no heartbeat.
But baby Wilhelmina is still honored every day, including on Saturday during Wisconsin Grief Collective's first Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Day.
Honoring our babies and just saying their names is the most precious gift that we could give to parents and individuals.
Organizer of the event and founder of Healing Our Hearts Foundation, Felicia Turner Walton, says her baby Zaire would have been 9 years old this month, and his loss, to this day, sparks many different emotions.
Why was it our babies? You know, what could we have done different? What could our medical community have done different?
Saturday's event, an opportunity for those who have experienced the tragic loss of their baby to support one another.
But being together, you know, as a unit, as a family, when you think about grief and you tell someone else that I've experienced losing a child, we all know what that feels like collectively.
You can say your baby's name, you can share pictures, just speak their name, and get physical and emotional support from those that have walked in the same shoes.
Together, honoring their little ones' memories.
If she's watching, Mommy loves you.
Turner Walton says honoring Zaire is also comforting for her kids, her other 5 kids who are able to share in his life and legacy. And Kneifel and her husband weren't able to conceive after Wilhelmina, but are going through the adoption process and hope to have a baby in their arms soon. Live in the studio, Shayna Najawan, WMTV 15 News.
Shayna.